Hello, 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 everyone. We are live on all platforms, I believe. I believe. Let me get a notebook. I've been down without it. Hold on. Don't know how I did that. Well, hello. If this is your first time catching one of our lives, I am Kimberly Evans. I am a mom, a wife, an entrepreneur currently. Depending on how this craziness goes, I might be back in the work field for a while, but we are doing real estate investing and we are loving it. So we are doing a live broadcast today. We won't be with you too long. If you're watching this on a replay, just make sure you do hashtag replay, ask your questions. We will definitely make sure that we get those questions answered for you. But today I wanted to come on and talk about how to start your real estate investing business. Things that you would need to do to make sure that you get it off to a good start. Pitfalls to avoid. Things that I messed up doing. Learning how to do it. And trial and error things for me, honestly. But we wanted to come on and let you know how you can start. Actually, 3 tips that you can use to get your real estate investing business started. And you can do this as a side job, a side hustle, something that you're learning while you're working something else. So those are all options that you can do while you're in this business. So for tip number 1, the first thing is get out of your head. Yep, that's your first tip, is to get out of your head. A lot of times we, as entrepreneurs, we mess ourselves up because we're constantly overthinking things, overanalyzing things, and we don't take action. And I'm guilty of this as well. So taking action is going to be your ultimate number 1 step that you want to do, is take action. Do something. Get something going. A lot of people like to spend time doing the logo, business cards, and all that kind of stuff. And I would encourage you not to. Yes, maybe, think of your name that you want to operate under, and maybe do your first transaction without having any of those things in place, just to allow yourself to give yourself time and that opportunity to get those to get that first transaction under your belt. And there's tons of niches that you can go in, and we'll go into niches on another live. I'm going to try and do one per day, especially while we're down. This could be a great time for us to interact. It gives me a little time to actually come on. So, but the first thing is to get out of your head. So if you've decided that you want to do real estate investing, and it doesn't matter on what scale that is, you want to do it small, large, medium, whatever it is you're looking to do. If you decided that you want to do real estate investing, then you want to get out of your head and take action. So that's your first thing, is picking where you want to go with this business. So you're making a decision. I like to do journals, kind of like notebooks, and put inside that journal what your first year goal is. What do you want to do for your first year? My first year in real estate investing, I just wanted to do one property. Just wanted to acquire one property that first year. And now thinking back on it, wow, one, you probably could have did a lot more. But I was in my head. So that's why I say get out of your head, because it'll allow you to stunt your own growth. So that's tip number one. Tip number two is identify your strengths and weaknesses as it relates to real estate. So, for example, if you're good with market knowledge, and when I say market knowledge, that is knowing what areas around you or in the area that you want to invest in, knowing what the property values are, knowing homeowners in those areas, knowing what the demographics is of that area. If it's senior related or if it's more young families, military, whatever it can be, middle class workers, upper echelon, whatever it is, you want to know what those demographics are in that area that you're looking to pursue. So you want to make sure that you know that market. You want to know what the houses are selling for. How often are they going on the market? Let's say you identify one subdivision that you want to work in. I would encourage you to learn everything about that subdivision for the last 2 years. And when I say everything about that subdivision, I mean for the last 2 years is how many homes have sold? How many homes went on the market that did not sell? How many homes sold that were not done through the MLS? So that means there was a private transaction. The seller sold it to somebody else and they didn't use an agent, or they didn't go on the MLS, or they just went through the courthouse or an attorney, depending on what state you're in, a title company, to close that transaction. But you can still find that out. You can find that information out by going through the courthouse system. 9 times out of 10, it's an online system where they do transactions for the sales. Take a list down of all the neighborhoods, all the street names in that particular subdivision, or get the subdivision name, depending on how that system is set up for that county or city. Then that's going to dictate how you're going to look up that neighborhood to see what transactions transpired. And you would just do a search for all the transactions within that 1 to 2 year period. And the reason you want to go back at least 2 years, it kind of gives you a little history on the property, give you a little history on the neighborhood, rather. If you can go back further than that, you can. You'll start acquiring a lot of data. And as a newbie investor, I think data is not so great for newbie investors because they take it all in. So if you're looking for a subdivision, 2 years worth of transactions is going to be more than enough, especially if it's an active subdivision. If it's a larger subdivision, 2 years might be too much information. So, comparatively speaking, look at the size of that neighborhood, the information that you're looking to acquire for that neighborhood, but you want to learn those neighborhoods, learn those subdivisions. If it's not a subdivision, learn those street names. Ride them, drive out. We call it driving for dollars. I love driving for dollars. Going out, seeing what's changed since the last time I drove out there. I found plenty of properties that way. Find them, and then you can learn that data, so you will know what information is there. And then step number 3 is going to be driving for dollars. So I encourage you to get in the car and drive. This is probably a great time to do it. Don't stop anywhere. Don't speak to anybody, but just look in the neighborhood, see what's going on. People are home now or they're not home now. So right now they have pretty much no place to go. So they're even going to be home or they're not going to be home, or they probably don't live in that house. So you're going to be looking for properties. Okay, so the criteria for what you're going to look for properties to start investing in, this is tip number 3, is vacant properties. It's the easiest one, in my opinion, to start with. For real estate investing, you're looking for properties that the owner no longer lives in. They may have died. The family doesn't want the property. I mean, it could be so many reasons. The roof was caving in, so they just moved out. They got evicted, so the landlord still has the property. No tenants are living in it anymore. So there can be tons of reasons why a property is vacant. All you're looking for is vacant properties, and you write them down. I mean, you make a list of them in your book that you want to keep, together for this particular reason, but you want to make a list. of all the properties that you come up on that day driving for dollars. And I would make that list and call it driving for dollars, or D, the number 4, and then the dollar sign, which lets you know that's what driving for dollars is. So you want to make a list of those properties. I like to go out and get at least a list of 30 to 50 properties. And you say that sounds like a lot, but it really is not. It really, really, really is not. So here's a sample list. I don't know, you probably can't read it. But anyway, each one of these is a property. And so I went driving for dollars. All of these properties looked to me to be vacant or unoccupied, or it looked to be like an extremely distressed homeowner. And when I say a distressed homeowner, that means that the roof was probably caving in and they had one of those blue tarps over it. And that tarp looked like it's been there for a while. Some of the porch may have been falling apart. The garage door may have been broken, and it looks like it's been broken for a while. The yard just didn't look kept compared to the homes around it. So that kind of gives you an idea that that's a distressed owner. So that is someone that may be interested in selling their property, or they may be interested in moving, may be interested in getting help with getting their property fixed up. So it could be a couple of different reasons as to why they would have that, why that property was in its condition. The other reason, again, is vacant homes. You will see those. It looks like the grass hasn't been cut. You may see a lockbox on the door, but there's no sign in the yard. And when you see a lockbox on the door, don't automatically assume that that's a realtor lockbox. There are plenty of other agencies that use lockbox on doors, and they use them for different reasons. So sometimes the bank may send someone over to do a clean out on a property and ask them to secure the property. Sometimes the bank does what they call cash for keys. So they give money to the renter or the owner to move out of the property to give you your key. And then they have you put a lockbox on the door. They haven't yet taken possession of the property, maybe. It could be a cleaning service that's doing the lockbox on the door, where the landlord leaves the lockbox on the door for the cleaning service to do. I used to do that for our properties. I would leave a lockbox for the cleaning service to come over and clean the property, but it was not for sale or anything like that, but it still looked like a vacant property. So just because you see a lockbox on the door, don't automatically assume that no one lives there, okay? So, but you still want to write it down. And I just said, don't assume. Just because you see a lockbox on the door, don't assume that it belongs to the bank. Still write that address down. That would be one of the addresses that you write on your list. So you want to make sure that you do write that down on your list, because you want those to be properties that you look up. And looking them up, I'll give you an extra bonus tip here of getting started. When you're looking up those programs, you can do what they call a skip trace. So you would skip trace the property. So I'm sure you probably heard of skip tracing from like collection agencies or bail bondsmen, the courthouse. All of those people do skip tracing on people, you know, to serve them warrants or anything like that. But you can do that as well. And there's a couple of different service providers that offer this service to you. I will say they can be pricey, but you don't want to go with the most expensive one. The one I use is like 10 cents a listing. So they're not expensive if you do your research. But you want to skip trace that property, find out who the owner is, the closest of kin to that owner, on record, that is. Sometimes it may be the bank. You may have to contact the bank and see what their plans are. There's a whole nother avenue of dealing with banks when you come to these. But if you find the homeowner, give them a call and find out what their plans what they plan to do with the property. And it could be something just as simple as, I was just waiting for someone to call me. I didn't want to find an agent. I didn't want to look for an agent. I just want to sell it. You could get, I'm tired of it. I don't want to be a landlord anymore. Those are quite frequent responses that you'll get. It could be Aunt Susie died last month and we have no plans to do anything with the property. We're trying to find her son. No clue where he's at. The last we heard, he was homeless living in New York. So not really sure. That's a good one that you can jump on really quick. And there's things that you can do with the county and the state on properties where the next of kin or the heir to the property is unable to be located. There's things that the state can do. There's things that your city can do that would help you acquire that property. So there's tons of things you can do. You see the ticker going across the bottom. We're launching our Quest to Invest course again. So that will be coming out April 2nd. If you have any questions or anything on the course or any questions on anything, don't hesitate to give me a ring-a-ling-a-ling. You can send us a message or email or Facebook us. All of our contacts are out there. So those are 3 tips to get your real estate investing business started. Actually, 2 of them were tips. One was an actual action item. Hint, hint. That's an action item. So our first tip was to get out your head and take action. So that would be our first tip, is to get out and take action. Now, I'm not doing as much getting out and taking action because I catch a cold like it's nobody's business. So I'm being just a little wise and sitting my booty down. So we have tons of work to do, though. So there's tons to do. I've been on calls all day, been making things happen. I've been writing curriculum, actually, course curriculum for the state for some stuff. So we have work to do still. But if you have any questions, like I stated, let me know. Send me an email, send me a message. If not, we're going to see you guys on tomorrow. And we will come back with some more information on that then, okay? I love you guys. And remember, if there's anything that I can ever do to help you, don't hesitate to reach out to me, okay? Bye, guys.